Greetings fellow tank commanders. In this video I'm going to be showing you a game that I played in the Gorynych KV-5. This is a tier 8 Soviet premium heavy tank with preferential matchmaking. The game I'm playing is a standard battle on Sand River with tier 8 as the top tier and no artillery. For this game I am platooned up with Cowboy Arizona, who is also in a KV-5. Since there is no artillery and we are top tier, we decided to push our way along the dry riverbed. Our plan was to use our high damage per minute and large hit point pools to cut right through the center of the enemy's defenses. With Sand River being such an open map, it can be difficult to find a good spot for the KV-5 to fight. The riverbed is a perfect place to hide from most snipers, and it's even better if there's no artillery, because then it's just you fighting the enemies in front, which allows you to use the KV-5's full potential. Even though we probably could have done an aggressive push right off the start, we chose to wear the enemies down first, and it's always a good idea to do that. That way you can avoid being swarmed by a full health enemy, which is a lot harder to deal with. Because of the distance and the terrain which is in our favor here, we are able to trade shots with the enemy without exposing our frontal weak spots. I was having a little trouble with my first couple shots penetrating these enemies, and so I've switched over to my APCR rounds now. If you want to be an effective KV-5 player, then you're going to have to use a lot of premium ammunition, because the penetration just isn't enough to make it a reliable damage dealer otherwise. And even though I run a large amount of APCR shells, I rarely lose silver with the KV-5. It is a great tank for earning silver, so don't be afraid to supply it with those larger repair and first aid kits, and keep a large supply of APCR shells. And that way you'll get the most fun out of this tank. Now that we've done a lot of damage to the enemy, it's time to push forward. We're advancing in a slightly staggered column, and that heavy tank immobilizing me actually plays to our advantage, because I was a good distance behind Cowboy Arizona and it made it easy to get the heavy tank that came down from above. Keeping a slightly staggered formation with your KV-5s makes it a lot harder for enemies to swarm you. This Centurion providing a perfect example for us. Now it's time to build up some ramming speed! That ram did 725 damage. Wow. The spall liner which I have equipped and the controlled impact skill I have learned definitely helped out a lot there. Between my one shot and that ram, I did 1,014 damage to that Centurion. Don't be afraid to use this tank's awesome ramming potential to turn the tide of a battle super quickly. A tier 10 tank destroyer like the Jagdpanzer E100 does about 1,000 damage per shot, but has more than a 20-second reload. And that ram helped a tier 8 tank with preferential matchmaking get that much damage in just a few seconds. And I also didn't take any damage for that ram. I almost get a reverse ram on this IS-2, but I'm just a little short. Now that we have this IS-2 out of the way, we have completely crushed the center of the enemy's defense. And with some great support from our teammates, I managed to spot out the hammer, which helped our team clear the southern flank. The enemies are concentrated in a pretty small area on the northern side of the map, so we decided to make a push on their base to try to draw a few of them away from the herd. They had obviously been expecting us to do that because they already had a KV-3 and a Motherland falling back to defend the base. This KV-3 couldn't have given me a more perfect shot, but this next shot is pretty hilarious. I'm going to pause the game briefly here so you can see where it hit. Underneath and near the back of his tank. That is some bad luck on a tank that was completely overexposed. Since the game was so close, Cowboy Arizona and I decided to go and sit on the base for a little bit. But after a brief discussion, we decided that it wasn't very fun winning by base capture. KV-5s are just too cool of a tank to not try and hunt down as many enemies as possible. And with this tank's good mobility, we would be able to fall back to the base in time if the enemy started capping us. Logic goes out the window with the KV-5. Its offensive potential is addicting to use. That small ram I got on the Motherland dealt 299 damage. It did just as much as the shot I got in on him. I'm glad I had Cowboy Arizona covering my back there, because otherwise that could have been pretty messy. Our team has done a great job defending the base, and now we have a good lead over the enemy. I was caught off guard here by the ISU-152, and look how close he was here to getting a big hit in on me. That is some really good luck right there. The ISU-152 must have been falling back to defend the base and support his teammate Motherland. It was a close call, but I'm definitely not going to complain about some easy damage hits. Now let's check the post-game stats and see how I did. For this game, I managed to earn 85,000 silver, with 1,000 of it being from the Defender of the Fatherland off. I got plenty of those unsatisfying drops before I earned the Fatherland. I earned 3,714 experience, with 250 of it being from the Picking Your Targets off. During this game, I've dealt 4,742 damage, assisted with 557 damage, and destroyed 5 enemies while blocking 2,570 damage. Remember that about 1,000 of the damage I got during this game was from ramming. This earned me High Caliber, Mastery Badge Ace Tanker, and Confederate, which is not a medal I would expect to earn when I destroyed 5 enemy vehicles. I placed at the top of my team, earning a base XP of 2,099. Cowboy Arizona had a solid game as well with a 1,587 base XP and dealt 3,083 damage. As a platoon, we dealt just over 7,800 damage. I'd like to think we made a pretty big impact on the game. I managed to hit 21 of my 23 shots, and I penetrated 14 of those. That's what I get for not firing APCR at the start of the game. In terms of crew and module damage this game, I managed to destroy the gun on the KV-3 and injure his gunner. I damaged the engine in another KV-3, damaged the engine and gun of an IS-2, and damaged the fuel tank in another KV-3. Well, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing another awesome game with the Gorynych KV-5, and that you'll remember to use its awesome ramming potential to turn the tide of a battle. Stay tuned for more awesome World of Tanks videos.